I've been trying to write something for the past couple days, and I can't. My brain doesn't work like it used to. I don't need to explain everything, and I need to remember that. But like, I lost cognitive function and being isolated, and I've been sick. I'm still sick, and um, and what I be saying might be not be fair, or I have a perception of things that aren't the same, that aren't in reality, or it's not real. My feelings, but they're my feelings, and I might put this for everyone on Facebook, depending on how it goes. And I need to talk about this stuff because, wait, but I've been really alone for a long time, even before my dad died. And I was kind of left to my own devices after he did, and by family and friends. And then I went through a clinical suicidal depression for about 6 months, a couple years before I moved, and I lost more people then, because that's what happens. I realized I barely kept myself alive, and I didn't feel like I was a person anymore, and I didn't have the energy to pretend like I was. And people don't know what to do with you, and you don't want around, and you lose people, and they stay lost. And this isn't a unique experience. This happens to people, and I'd already lost people, and I had worked a job where I was by myself most of the time, and then at the end, very much for a while, and then I lost 2 pets in a month. I left a job that I loved earlier because I went to HR to report my manager for lying to me and the bosses and everyone, and sexual harassment, and or just sexism, and um OSHA violations, working in a where we weren't supposed to be, where there was cancer causing agents for 2 days and not knowing about it. My old coworker has breast cancer, by the way, so I hope that has nothing to do with it. But I mean, I obsessed about reporting this man because I thought maybe I'm taking it too personally, and I making a big deal out of nothing, because that's what I always think. And I made sure that I wasn't. And I spent 2 hours in HR, and I had documentation, and I had witnesses of things, and nothing happened. It didn't matter. It actually didn't go through HR first. It went through the governor's office, and I knew that he'd been talked to before he talked to me, because of how he was acting, and it all goes up to the table. Nothing mattered, and I realized, I think it was the day after Thanksgiving before Christmas break, I realized that he could not do his job. He could lie about how I was doing my job. He could not help me do my job like he was supposed to. He could make me look bad, and like I wasn't doing my job when I was doing his. It didn't matter what I said or did, and how my past performance. And for a while, it was bad because I barely held. The only thing that I functioned in the smallest bit when I was so sick was to keep my job, barely. And then my I need to detail, but I met with him the first time. I realized it doesn't matter. Nothing matters. I am not going to be heard. It can be lies, and I said that was my day, and it doesn't matter. And it didn't matter that I had taken care of my family, and it was a job, but that somebody could just come in and just say whatever they want or do whatever they want, and because they were a man, or because their father had been an important person, or for whatever reason, it didn't matter, because I'd been sick, and I was going to quit my job that day. I was clearing my desk out, because I remember I did clear my desk out the day before Christmas break, Thanksgiving break, and also I found, like, and I realized I was the only person that ever worked there or even catered there that didn't sign a whatever, I wouldn't talk thing, because I found it at my desk. I signed it, and then nobody took it, and I took it. So I'm just saying that because maybe I wouldn't be allowed to say these things now, that the chief of staff and people were, all this HR stuff went to somebody else. I mean, went to her, and then came to him, and it was done. Nothing happened. And that was traumatic for me. That was, and I noticed pets, and it was already hard. And when I met Mark, my friend, like, that I ended up dating, I hadn't really been around people at all in a real way, and I'd been really sick, and he reminded me what it was like to be around people. And I think I pushed the whole thing, and I moved too soon, because I literally quit my job before I had another one lined up. I made myself wait another month. I took all my vacation, and I didn't pack. I now know that I was already in, like, a trauma response. And then I moved, and then I got dumped, and and then COVID, and so I mean, there's half of it isn't. I'm not going to go through the half of it, but I suffered multiple traumas in a very short time, and I had already my world had been getting smaller, and I had been isolating myself more, and I kept trying to explain how to people how it was different because I was in a strange time during a pandemic. I was around one person for a while, and he couldn't even be around me. And when he was not masking, and he was like not social distancing, and I was terrified, and I felt unsafe, and I kicked him. How many times he let my cat out before he went out of town for work for hours, and he let my old cat out and didn't get him back in the house, and he knew it because he was mad at me. I mean, like, and I'd already lost 3 pets. I mean, there was things he did that because I didn't have anyone else. And when I started realizing I was losing my mind, I tried desperately to just get him to come back and, like, do something with me, anything, because I was already just changing. Like, I was talking, like, when I was so depressed, like a crazy lady. My speech changed. Even, like, the lady I adopted my dog from, I tried to, like, that was the first time I was like, oh, I'm another person from somewhere else, because I didn't have coworkers, because I didn't have a job lined up, and I didn't know what my age to do. I was already scaring her away because I was too, like, I need a friend, right? And at a certain point, I've been told by several doctors and counselors that I was disassociating, and I probably wasn't Bismarck, but because I remember thinking, like, it's like the world's moving around me, and I'm just standing here, and I'm hardly working, I have no money anymore, I'm racking my credit cards, and I have a real job, and I am by myself, and I am losing my mind, and by the point I really realized how bad things were, I had maybe a month's money left, and I was already late on rent, and it was my friends I was renting from, and that would be the last person I would lay on, but I was like, I have nowhere to go, and I have no backup plan, and I was really, really sick, and I'd already started using dictation too much in Bismarck, because I couldn't talk. I was like, I wanted to say things, and I forgot them. And I've always sent like super long text messages and been extra wordy, but I started sending people messages, and I looked back on, I don't have most of those messages now, any of the older ones, because I realized I either was making no sense and it was just gibberish, I sounded completely insane, which is, I shouldn't say that in a derogatory way, or I said exactly the opposite of what I wanted to. But it was these things that I had to get out, and they were so important. And at one point, I don't know how to ask for help. Okay, I've been hyper independent my whole life. I've never made a lot of money, but I've always paid for everything myself, or paid for or myself, and then paid for other people, maybe because that's my safe place. I can't owe anybody anything, and I have to deserve love and, like, support, and I didn't know all this. I've learned all this, but I don't ask for help. Like, I had maybe one person I would be okay asking for a ride to the airport, otherwise I was obsessed about it. My mom was like that when she was dying. It was like, I can't bother people, and I had the biggest ask. I was like, I'm gonna be on the street or whatever. I can't not pay rent, and he needs it, and I don't know. I don't know who to ask, and I had 3 family members and 2 people and 1 person that I was like, they maybe have a little more money where they could give me 1,000, like, let me some money till I can figure out what I'm doing, right? And I'm pretty sure the messages I sent them, and I thought, I was gonna make this for just you guys, but I'm sending it to everyone now, because I'm not making everybody, because I wanted to make notes and make this shorter, and you know what? It doesn't matter. But I'm pretty sure, I know the messages either made no sense, or they couldn't make sense of, or they absolutely, I was completely drunk or on all the drugs in the world, or completely insane, which is, I shouldn't use like that, but, or said the opposite of what I meant, or they didn't even realize I was asking for help, or what sort of help, because I basically was like, I hope you can let me some money. I don't know if I was able to ask for it outright. And I deleted all my messages like that, because I was like, oh my God, any kind that I sent, was times I sent those, where I had these things that were so important, and I was trying to communicate with people, and I was doing the opposite. But anyway, I don't know what happened, if people thought I was drinking, and everyone was going through COVID. And I also can't say this is fair, or even, I don't know. I made assumptions, because a lot of times everyone was going through their own trauma and hardships, and I wasn't anywhere around anyone. And I think people didn't understand how I moved in there already. Like, it was sketchy, and it was too fast, and I hadn't been around anybody really. And so then all this stuff happened, and everyone's going through their own stuff. Like, it was like they didn't have time for this, but I sent these people messages, and I didn't know, I was scared. And the thing is that I didn't get an answer from either one. And, whatever they thought I was doing or not doing, or they couldn't handle it, or they had their own things on their plate, I deserved an answer, or some kind of, we can't help you that way, but are you okay? Or, we don't understand what you're talking about, or, are you okay? But I got nothing. And that just reinforced, like, you don't ask people for help. And I think at some point, I just felt like I had 1% of Bismarck that I could actually, like, be honest with, and, like, who actually, I don't know. And also, I already, but when I didn't get an answer, and I didn't want to go back to Bismarck because Bismarck is my place, but it wasn't a full year. I'm gonna try. When I didn't get an answer from those people, something in me broke. Even if I had been drinking or doing all the drugs or whatever, I'm a human being and I deserve and are you okay or something? Eventually, one of them got back to me because they were having their own thing, and saying, again, I understand all this, but I'm like, so I can't be mad or whatever. I don't know what's going on with people, but I'm a human being. So I moved to Helena with a man I knew lied about his age, where he lived, what he did for a living, everything that I was supposed to date, and he lied about it. So I didn't, when I met him, I didn't want to date him. I was like, you're an old man, and I don't want to do this. I felt sick, but I was so sick, I was barely even talking, that I was like, and it was 2 weeks, I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't have a choice. He said, you can come stay with me anyway, and you have to, there's no relationship, and you can have the whole house, and I was like, and I didn't want to, I didn't actually really like it. I didn't enjoy being around him, and but I literally, at that point, at trauma response, I didn't think I had anywhere else to go, and I didn't know what else to do. I'd had those asks in me, and that was all I had. And like I said, I mean, when I was trying to help me move, I literally was like, I didn't even pack a box. I was like in bed, I couldn't talk. I wasn't talking anymore, really. I was just, and it was really difficult, and because I didn't have autism, and it was just, and that's, my sister's like that, my mom's like, I have to have my space, my own space, to be safe, feel safe, and here I'm moving to straight man who basically knew it was more about sex, and it wasn't it just wasn't me because he didn't know me. And the whole thing was just, and I made myself think I had a relationship because I have to have something to give back, and I didn't talk about that because, well, it was crazy. So people were like, what is she doing now? But that's what happened when people that I loved and that I didn't answer me at all. One of the messages I sent Facebook Messenger, so I could see that it was red, and then I sent another one because I was angry and hurt, and it was probably not fair about how my parents, but whatever, I'm human. And I never heard from them again. And I took my Facebook, and then, and I don't know what was going on with people, but I need people to know. And I just realized yesterday that I haven't been taking this just because mental illness I've talked about it, and I know people, my friends have, it's just physical illness, but it's treated like that, and I know that, and I've been there, and I've judged, but I realized I judge other people and myself, and I haven't taken it seriously, because and I just had to tell myself today that I have done nothing wrong. I've done nothing wrong. I tried going back to Bismarck, and I didn't want to, but I lost my one person, that was my person, and also two didn't trust me for some reason because of doing a drug once and telling them that, and also I think I saw one other person, and I didn't reach out to people, but I felt like that was even just a visit because they felt like they had to, and it didn't feel like home. But after that event happened, it was I don't want to ever be back there again. This place it was hard for me before, but the thing is with mental illness is it's like racism. You don't know that you've got this internalized view, and I had myself because I've been trying to do this on my own, and it's nobody's fault, but at the same time I realized, not once, it's COVID, everyone's going through this shit, and people want me to come into Bismarck, and the people that were trying to get me back, most of the people that don't know me, so maybe I'm thinking it's all me, I'm just an asshole, because the people I thought were my chosen family who I'd kind of already lost, they were kind of silent, and I was really sick. So at a certain point I was I don't have a choice, I have to go back to Bismarck because I need money, and I'm still not functioning, and I can't get a job, and then my tires blew my car, and I had to borrow money to get that fixed, and then literally 2 days later my car was totaled, and I didn't want to put on Facebook because I was because at a certain point people get fatigued, even if it was, I'm sure physical illness, people too have physical, serious physical ailments that terminal or not, after a while people have, they can't listen anymore, it's too much, right? Even if it's not your fault, it's people, I know this, I've read articles and I've been there where they're just they're internalized that you must not be doing something right, and I've read this about mental illness or just people having bad times over and over, and I think I tried talking about it, but I was I have no choice, I have to go back, but then I was I don't have a car, and I was already I don't know how I'm going to do this, because the whole reason I can't hold a job or go through an interview, or I can barely support myself, is because I am really sick, and I can barely get out of bed, And people don't understand that, and they don't know. So how am I supposed to, like, even if I had a car, pack up any of my stuff, not to mention the stuff that's most of my things that are in Helena, because I kind of ran away from the situation. That's the thing I did. Because I didn't. I mean, I did. There's no way I could have done it. It'd be like if somebody had cancer and they were, and I've been almost terminal for 3 years, because I haven't felt hope in so long. I've been trying so hard, but I don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. But I keep trying. But I realize that I'm not going to get any better because I can't do it on my own. And it's not about being in Bismarck or not. Anyway. I had one person who offered to come and get me. And at that point, I was already like, fuck, I'm never going back there. But, because my car got totaled, I had insurance money. It was maybe a bad thing, but otherwise, it'd be like asking someone who, to drive their car back, pack all their stuff up and, get themselves back so they could get the help they needed. But they were, physically weren't able, but you're like, well, we can't, it's up to you. People didn't say that, but that's what happens to you. The things that you're supposed to do to get better, and I've done this to people, or you need to go outside, or talk to people, or call me, or not isolate, or join this group, or ask for help from this person. Those are the things you're not doing or can't do because you're sick. Isolating and not talking to people, but also I learned more and more to, like I did in childhood, to not talk and bother people, because when I did, maybe I wasn't making sense and stuff, but people didn't know what to do with me, and it was nobody's fault, but I kept losing people, and it was I literally I made it easier for people to just let me disappear. At one point, I was messaging my best friends, and because I didn't talk to people, and I did, it would come out in these dictation things, and maybe it didn't make any sense, and I at one point, they weren't answering me, and I was like, I'll just stop messaging it. If I don't hear from you, I'll know that you just need me to leave you alone. I gave somebody, I didn't even make them have to say anything. It's so easy to just let myself disappear out of people's lives because I felt like I already was. And it could not be fair, but I realized, well, I was like, and my counselor once said, she's like, why didn't anybody come to help you after a while? It's been so many years, because people don't get it, because you can't, it's not because they're bad, but, and you're not going to keep telling them, because after a while, you can't borrow money, because then you're not she can't get a job, you can't borrow money, you're and let them know how bad you're doing, because, some people don't want to worry, but also because, it's shameful, why isn't she better? And I should go, I should do this, and, my other car got an accident the day before Christmas, and I didn't tell anyone, because my sister, for 5 months, because I felt so shameful, and it was too much for her, and it was this is just for the world, but these people that I contacted again this week, because I'm not getting any better, I'm this isn't gonna work, I have to, I have some things gotta change, and I'm kind of screwed again, but I have to go business if I have to, but I'm and I just I wasn't thinking, and I messaged them again to these people, and again, silence. And I said, I don't know what happened. She said I was using drugs or drinking, or I'm not family anymore, but I deserved an answer. And I want those to know, and I want to say, this is the most shamefully admitted, this is how sick I've been. And if anyone tells my Aunt Sue about any of this, I will kill them, because she doesn't need the stress. I'm blocking her, and nobody. I don't want to feel bad, nobody's responsible for me as a person or my actions, but also this is what happens when people fall through the cracks, when it's not understood, and it still isn't the way it should be, and it might never be, but I can say something for myself. People, my most precious possessions, most of them are in storage in Helena, because when I moved there, Bill he didn't want my furniture there, you want to load it. The chest that came from my great-grandparents from Norway, my grandmother's wedding furniture, which is the cheap stuff, but I've used it my whole life because I love it, and I'm so sentimental. A desk and a bookcase my great-uncle made, a thing my grandpa made, my parents' lederhosen, some quilts, and half of my clothes are all in storage, and I think it's maybe auctioned off, or I wasn't able to pay it. And I tried asking Bill, because he said he decided to stop paying it, and first he didn't tell me, and it was and then I got that managed, and then again, and I thought I missed him. That's how, the most important things I own, my favorite things, my precious things, and I'm so sentimental, and I hold on to things. it didn't matter. I was like, they're all gonna be gone forever, and I'm never gonna forgive myself, and I'm never gonna get over that. It wasn't enough. And I went to college. That lasted like 2 weeks because at a certain point, the way I was not working with anyone because I'm sick and I get fired, but it was gonna happen, and I was literally getting worse. I was doing gig work again. I had to buy this cheap car. It was literally so bad last week that I was driving it. It would like stall and run out, and I had to wait for half an hour for it to go again because there was an oil problem with the engine. Like if I did more than 3 deliveries or jobs, and then it started getting hot, I couldn't. And I sometimes had to walk home, but I kept doing it because I don't know what else to do. That's finally dead. I got a job at a cashier at a gas station, and I had the training, and the next day I went there, and it was they don't actually work at this place, but there's a point. I literally at one point was like, I'm not gonna make it at all if I'm here. Like I can't. It's not like it's beneath me or. And it wasn't feel bad, so it's like nobody's like my people. I'm like, I just need to make a friend or two or people that are like can be okay with me, and I still haven't been able to find those people. And it's because I'm sick, and I'm so paranoid. I just want to tell myself this, but that I'm probably the storage is lost, or it's like $700. And now my rent is due in 2 days, and I don't have it. You know why? Because it's like I'm watching the train come at me, and I've been doing this for 4 years, and it's coming, and I'm stuck in a, like, eventually I always manage to stop it before it goes through, I'm dead, or I get out of the tracks. It's like, I'm not well. Or people go, it's like people that have mental illness, we literally can't do things like, you know, if like somebody's going through chemo's weak and they can't like do aerobics, it would make them worse. It would make them sicker. They broke their arm. They can't play tennis because their arm's broken, or they can't work right at work because they can't do it because they can't physically do it. It's the same thing, but you can't understand because people are in their head, and even people that have physical disabilities, I know after a while, you know, and things, but like I can keep trying, and I can keep turning to the doctor, or counselor, and like, and try to make friends and get jobs and build community. But at the end of the day, I didn't do anything wrong. I've been just trying. But when people get quiet, and when you can't, and it's just the way the world is, but when you can't like be honest, because now it's like what you feel shameful, or you're not doing enough, or people just kind of like, it's just a spiral. You know, when I bring up people's names, like first when Mark couldn't be around me because I was too crazy right after COVID, I literally lost it. Couldn't be my friend. At first he was just like, it was terrible. That was the first thing where in my whole life I've been too much. I know that now. I was the quietest student at school. I never talked to anybody. I would take my book out and read when there's extra time. If you know me, I'm like this, right? My whole life I'm talk too fast, and I think maybe I learned that right now. Like, you know, I got to be quiet because I don't know, because I probably remember like school people that talk about things that happened at school. I feel bad, like I didn't care because I don't remember a lot because I think I just was not present. Like it was just to get me through this. I don't know. And I've never had friends, and like I just worked a lot. I worked so much, and I have nothing to show for. But like, this is serious. Like with people and in general, like this is, and I wasn't taking it. Like I've been trying. I keep trying. This is gonna work, and this is gonna work. But really, I think I just need from anyone that remembers me from before long enough to remember who I am, and I'm gonna try to call one person to see if I can stay with them. And otherwise, I don't know. I'm gonna get assistance or whatever. I'm gonna have to go back to Bismarck, but it's worse. It's because even if it's somebody's fault, then it happens to me. Like, let me come get you. Like, there's somebody in Montana that was going to like, but I mean like, and we will get you back, and like everything, you know, like people that knew me before, because when it's people that didn't know me, it's like the people that didn't know me, they're quiet, so like it's me, right? I'm the problem. You're sick, you can't, it's like, yeah, it's like terminal patient, like you need to come out, like, you know, and it's not like people are bad, but they don't, and they don't realize they're thinking like that, because I realized I was thinking that about other people myself. I ever helped roommates, and that was gonna be great, but I'm not comfortable with anyone because I make both of them crazy, because I'm hyper paranoid with being too much, but then I'm just too much. My first roommate is 24 guy he was like when I first met me, and then the other was really excited about me, and she's a great lady, but like she's like an ADHD, and like just my talking like is too much for her. It's like, you know, and it's not because she doesn't like me or she's a bad person, but it's like, on Bill, like I literally, she can't. It's like, I just went to the county fair across the street with her for 15 minutes, and I had to leave. I had to make her something because I already was making her insane, and when she got home, she lives. And it's obvious. It's not because she's bad, but I have a hard time enough with roommates. Like if I'm not the tidy one, and I've always made myself like, this isn't good for me because I've kind of made myself into whoever I needed to be for them. And if they weren't like chiller or they were really clean, then I was always like the asshole or work weird hours, and I've never really been happy. It's always been miserable, except for one person I lived with then. And now I hide upstairs. I always back to the bathroom. I'm gonna regret saying this, but because I was like, I can't go down there. Like I'm not comfortable being around people, and I know they're from not around, and the bathroom is my zen, but like there's one bathroom, and like there's nobody home. Like I can't like be in there for 2 hours. It's just like it's not, and it's not because I'm like I need my own place. And I've just been getting worse. I was at the cashier, and then the second day I had to go back to the work cashier job. It's not like it was hard. I physically was vomiting, and I couldn't. And I'm like, Kristen, you can do this. And it was like, I've tried. I can do this so many times. And I realized I can't. I can have no money, no rent, and if I didn't have a nice landlord, I haven't talked to you, I'd be on the street. But it doesn't matter because I'm sick, and it's like, I'm tired. And some people have checked on me lately, and there was one person from Bismarck that was going to be coming through town, and they texted me, and I didn't answer them because, and that wasn't right, but I was like, I can't lie about the college, not working there, or like, about how, and like, pretend like I'm not sick, and I've been trying to pick up my room for like 3 months. It's not going to happen. It was like, I can't do this in person, and I'm terrified to see people, because I'm not going to be okay. And I had another person message me like a month ago and asked me if it was okay, and she lent me money, and I paid her back late, but I never answered her message because I didn't know what to say. Because I can't have bad news again. I can't, because it's not, like, what am I not doing right? So for whatever reason, I lost people that I knew, or things happened, and I'm talking about everybody, like it's, but the people who didn't ask me back, the family, you need to know that for whatever reason, it messed me up again. And maybe like I was like, oh, like now I'm gonna shut down again because you don't know what's going on and why they're not talking to you, you know, or you're worth a response, or you're not family anymore for whatever goddamn reason. You know, who knows, you've had a history of mental illness and things, and it's like your parents have it, and it's like, do you show any care? And I'm worth more than that, and I have been. I just want to say that. So for God, you set me back before, and it's not responsible for my feelings, but people need to know, like, I can say these things and I can be angry and hurt. Like I said, they might not be fair, but I've been trying. But it was just, I shouldn't move to this, but like it was a perfect storm, and everyone had their own things going on. But yeah, it's been almost 4 years. I keep trying, and I maybe should have done things different, or like if I'd gone on walks and maybe try to be more positive, I wouldn't be so depressed and I'd be better. Or if I got to a different doctor, but that's ridiculous. I just today finally was like, Kristen, you haven't done anything wrong. You're not perfect, and you've hurt people, and you're not the victim of everything, but you have done nothing wrong. You have been trying really hard. You've just been completely alone, and it's not, and I'm not anybody's responsibility or problem, but sometimes, you know what, I feel like I have to be somebody's. Someday I hope to be somebody's. And I'm just gonna disappear, but you know, if I didn't have my cat, I don't know if I'd be here. And that's somebody's fault, but like, this is serious shit, and I'm making this because I'm hoping this person will take me and to Bismarck, and I can be around people and feel like I can be myself, and until I get better, until I'm not, it's hard for me around people. I get worse, to not be able to get through a job interview, and to just ever feel like anybody's like, okay, she's cool, without being like, you know, or I can't stop explaining why I'm gonna, to not be able to have any kind of job, be creative and like work in a kitchen because I either dumb myself down or it's so complicated, and, or I don't even get calls because it's I have no, I mean, I feel like I'm 49 and I have no life skills. It's, and you know, I'm not feeling sorry, but this is my shit. I don't want to cry and I don't want to look bad.